Alright, so the age-old question now expands. You know why? Because the buff for Bond really isn't that bad, alright? So I did get some testing on a JP, so before I made this video, I really wanted to, which you'll see that video from me soon. I really do recommend check it out if you're really questioning, like, how much better has he become, which you have to think of it as a perspective thing. So like and subscribe helps out a ton. That's the intro out of the way. We cracked 30K. I just want to thank you so much. And beyond that, we actually cracked 30.1 or 01 or I don't know, yeah. Well, thank you for that too. So 30.1, right? Yeah. So thank you for that. Appreciate it. Great. Jumping into it. Bond is great. Okay, he has gotten a lot better. Again, if you're looking at a festival character that's going to change the game, break the game, and, you know, become what Purgatory Melee is, that is not Bond, but you have to look at him for what he can do and what he can bring to the table, which is a lot, right? So I did mention that I wasn't finishing the 900 rotation at first when Bond originally released. After the buff, I do feel like I will beat the rotation and finish it because him with, you know, dupes actually matters now, right? First, if you are chasing a second dupe for Bond or a third, realize that his ultimate has become better and free-to-play friendly in the aspect that it is stronger at lower dupes. So if I were to get that second dupe, it can actually matter. That dupe will matter. It's not that I have to go all the way to 6-6 and pray that I get there and then I get a useful Bond. No, for what he is at 1, 2, 3, 6, it's better now. Way better than usual. So, me chasing 2, 6 is actually pretty good. So, I will probably do that over here for Jazzy. So, yes, beyond the buff, I think that really changed. Okay? What the buff did, so to give you like a too long didn't read, basically, he has more survivability, which is great. When he attacks, the debuff is placed before the attacks, was actually helpful there too. His, again, ult got, you know, modified to where it's more free-to-play friendly on the lower levels. And he also got expanded. This is the big part, right? His passive now is expanded to where it clearly says 7 deadly sins. That's no longer just the case. It now opens it up to where people who want to run, let's say, Fairy Team with Bond, they can make that work because Bond will buff them. They will buff Bond. That's how it's going to work. That survivability is now a feature to everyone, right? Or not everyone, but fairies and humans, right? So for characters that are also of human race, let's say collab characters, this character really has a lot of hype and potential for future stuff because now it's not just 7 deadly sins. We were like, oh, if it's just 7 deadly sins, that lowers the amount of things he can actually get to get buffed and characters that can work on his comp. But now it opens it up to such a better variety, right? It's as if you take Meliodas and you say, oh, he works with Unknown Team. He just gets opened up to a whole new field of possibilities, right? That's kind of how it is. It's just taking him and being able to use him with so many different team comps already makes the character more lucrative and better because that survivability is kind of good in comparison, right? So relatively, that's the first thing, okay? Still, regardless of the buff not existing or whatever, this banner was a must summon. Whatever you may say, whatever it is, if you had all the characters and you don't really care for dupes, you could skip this. Not really a must summon, but it is a very powerful and very strong banner. For a lot of new players picking up the game, if you are a new player, you need to summon for this, regardless of what you say. You have like every festival unit almost on here. Every Meliodas is on here, which is pretty good. You have Escanor, you have Purgatory Melee, you have Estarossa, you have Liz, you have Merlin. That's very good. This is still a very good unit, though, again, it's mainly used for her passive, right? That's kind of it, but she's good. She also, I think, is like the, what is it? Oh my god, what's his name? The level 90, Belmoth. Yeah, Belmoth, that's it. So she works there. Still good grace to have. Collection, I guess you could say, grace to have, good grace to have. That's for free, so it doesn't really count. This 6-6 is really good because you use him for Unknown Team, so getting dupes for him is pretty nice. Now he's been swapped out for Tristan. People say the Tristan's that way better for a bench unit, but depending on if you're summoning for that, this is still good. Arthur is still fine. Again, more people have him, so not really. Merlin, still great. 6-6 is still great. Still 6-6 is still great. More so Collection. She's actually good for some stuff, but Collection more so. Pretty good. She's really good for farming and stuff like that, and just a extra collection character. So the banner itself isn't too terrible, but yeah, I do plan to finish up the rotation. I'm gonna wait till the end of the day, or end of the month when the banner's about to end and see what happens, right? Tristan also is releasing, so that has to happen too. So on the aspect of if you should still summon and if you should still continue onwards, yes, you should. If you waited to see if Bond got better, and that's your plan, he did get better, and he is a character I would say to at least have one copy for, just because he is of light, and when he is of light, it's a very hard chance to get him again, you know? People that missed out on Melee and Escanor are not calling you out, but people like that are very much crying right now. They're like, oh damn, I now can never ever ever get them guaranteed. I can potentially get them, but not guaranteed, right? So chasing a light unit is always good. In this aspect, I would say it's better because if you do like human meta, you know, he has potential. So let's say just, I'm not saying this because people are gonna be like, oh, GoGo's talking about a collab again. No. But let's say let's say there is a collaboration within the next 3 months, which there has to be, within those 3 months, and it's a human collaboration, what happens, right? Bond will work on that human team, and for future characters, they're human, which there's a lot of human characters left to release in both Fortnite Apocalypse and in the 7 Deadly Sins story. So there is a lot of potential for him to get buffed. There are fairy characters that also can release. There are 7 Deadly Sins characters that can also release. So on the aspect of collaboration and stuff like that, you know the two main races that always get units, right? It's going to be unknown and it's going to be human. So in the future, he will get buffed via that. He will get better as time progresses. But right now, I do like what they did to him. Yes, if you are looking for a game-breaking, meta-defining, broken insane unit, he could have been better. He could have had like his AoE card, or single target card replaced with an AoE card. That could have been like a huge improvement. But maybe that wouldn't have been balanced. Maybe that would have been too strong for him, and then he would really be breaking the game. Again, we don't want to always get a character that breaks the game and ruins everything. You see what Purg Melee has done. It's changed the meta so heavily to where people can't just run a fun freaking team and just have fun. So it does depend on that also. But for what it is, I would summon. All right, end of the story. Quick little there, you should summon. That's what you should do. This character brings something to the table that is pretty good. He is with his buff, it's actually a little cherry on top for people that thought he was already pretty good. He does get the improvements. He does open up to other characters. So maybe they didn't buff him per se extremely because they know that they have a plan for a human character to release or a fairy character to release that will give him that big buff. Okay, so on that aspect of it, it's a yes. On the aspect of the banner, it's a yes. If you're looking for Tristan, more so you can skip Tristan if you want to, due to the reason that he mainly is just going to be a bench unit. There is no more use case we found for him so far. He is a bench unit through and through, and that's it at that, right? He just works to go and buff Goddess race. So if you run Goddess team and you want your Goddess team to get stacked with a 45% defense increase, it's pretty good, but you'll have to wait because he also has his costumes. So if you are investing into a PvP team, you'll have to wait because his costumes release in 30 days or something like that. So just keep that in mind too. But again, Tristan is a separate banner. That is a separate story. Right now we're talking about the festival, and I do think that if you want to finish your rotation, complete your rotation, start your rotation, or whatever aspect of it you're on, it is worth it. All right, so I will finish my rotation. The dupes are much stronger now and much better than what they were before. The buffs aren't that bad, and they do change the character a bit. Again, just the main buff, let's ignore everything else. The main buff being expanded to other races makes him work in more comps, right? So like if you did invest into like Rudis, and maybe Rudis isn't that bad if you think so, you can try now running your Rudis with him. You can do that, right? Roxy can run with him now, which is pretty cool. So let's say there is an actual human character they plan to make Roxy, Bond, and whatever work. There's potential, okay? So at the end of the day, do want to mention that and make sure it is clear that, you know, with this, the buff is pretty good. The character now is really kind of better, and the banner itself is pretty strong. So I would recommend you invest into it and just pick up what you need for the character because, again, light characters, they die, right? They literally just go missing forever, and then they come back and then go missing again. You have no guarantee. So I would recommend you try to invest. So with it, catch you in the next one. Have fun, stay safe, peace, and enjoy. That's been it for me. And yeah, it's a pretty good thing. You can always, by the way, wait till the last day. If you want to, you can do that too. So your decision. Have fun.